All right, good morning, everybody. Quick little weather update here. I'm not going to see me on camera. I'm not ready for that just yet on this Sunday morning. I got to get a run in, but just wanted to give you a quick little video update on what's happening here with Tropical Depression 10, which will be Idalia later on today. So basically, the system is near Cozumel. It's barely moving today. And that kind of introduces still a little bit of a waiting game with this system. Here's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. It still moves the storm into the northeast Gulf of Mexico. There's not much difference between the models, but it could go as far west as maybe Apalachicola. The center could go as far east as maybe Cedar Key. So there's still that window there. We won't really know until sometime tomorrow when the forward motion really kind of sets in. Then we'll get a better idea of how it's going to track. Because it's not moving much, the center could wobble and that could impact the track. But this is important, the models really are clustered here, and I think any changes in the track will not be significant. We're no longer looking at the possibility of the center moving over Tampa Bay or Pensacola. Now we've really got it just kind of honed in on the Big Bend, really that Big Bend area, south of Tallahassee, St. Mark's, Caravel area, down to Cedar Key, and again, as far west as St. George Island or Apalachicola. What is interesting, kind of reading into what the Hurricane Center is watching, is look at the track here, look at the intensities. They've increased the intensity now as the storm is offshore west of us Tuesday night into Wednesday morning to 90 miles per hour. And the reason they did that is there's going to be an opportunity, looking at some of the model data, Tuesday night into Wednesday, when the upper level winds, which are moderate over the storm now, will decrease while the storm is over some really warm Gulf waters. Some of the models are picking up on this. And when you look at the intensity forecast, a couple of the models bring the storm into category 2, maybe even category 3 intensity. Now, that would be a big change compared to where the storm is now. So the red there is category 3, and you see some of these lines going up to that red. That indicates that a couple of these models think, well, maybe there could be some rapid strengthening as the storm approaches the Florida Big Bend. Most of the models are still clustered in the Cat 1 category. So I still think the best opportunity here, the best chance is Cat 1, maybe a Cat 2. But the Hurricane Center is watching this carefully. They have to kind of leave the window open for the possibility that maybe this thing is going to be a little bit stronger. What does that mean for us? Okay. I think for the majority of us, in terms of wind, it doesn't really change the picture a lot. Now, we're still looking at most of us, even if this becomes a Cat 3, seeing tropical storm force winds. The question will be how strong. As the storm intensifies, the wind field will actually contract, get smaller with the stronger winds really close to the center, and most of the storm being covered by tropical storm force winds. So this is the track. I'm going to show you the cone. This is what the cone looks like. And notice, and this is why we talk about this all the time, you should not be looking at just the cone. The cone does not include Tampa Bay or Orlando or Sarasota or Venice. That does not mean you will not get storm impacts. I'm going to take the cone off because the cone here is very misleading. Here are the places that are most likely or that will possibly see tropical storm force winds. And notice those areas extend into our coast. In fact, when you look at the areas that are probably going to see tropical storm force wind gusts in the blue, that covers all of our area and the east coast of Florida. So you're looking at tropical storm force winds, or at least wind gusts, 250 miles or more to the east of the center, with the solid tropical storm force wind gust extending as far east as Orlando, Lakeland, Lake Wales, and as far south as southwest Florida. Cape Coral, Naples, Port Charlotte, Sarasota, Venice. And in the yellow, these are places that are possibly going to see strong tropical storm force winds. So now you're looking at Pinellas, Pasco, Manatee County, potentially getting into winds that are greater than 58 miles per hour. A lot of this is going to be in gusts, but those are pretty strong winds. Think of a strong summertime thunderstorm. That's what you're basically looking at. So there is now the possibility of some isolated power outages. There's going to be maybe some tree branches, that kind of thing that fall. That always happens with these systems. And of course, as the storm strengthens, the onshore flow strengthens. So there is going to be the potential for coastal flooding. And I want to keep emphasizing that that means the bay. As the storm travels to the east, we are to the west of us, we are going to get a push of water into the bay. And that means even areas in Pinellas County on the bay side, Oldsmar, Safety Harbor, downtown Tampa area, of course, the Gandy, South Tampa, and southern and eastern Hillsborough County, Riverview, Apollo Beach, down to Ruskin. All these places will see sea level rises, and that means coastal flooding here is possible. So if you live around the bay or along the coast, you should start to think about preparing for some type of coastal flooding. The National Weather Service in Tampa believes that basically from the bay, so let's say from Longboat Key north, there could be as much as 6 to 9 feet now of coastal flooding in some places during times of high tide Tuesday and Wednesday. South of Longboat Key, you're looking at 3 to 5 feet. Again, Venice, Sarasota, you are not in the cone, but you could see flooding from the storm. And this is why I don't want you to focus on the cone or the track. The impacts from the storm will extend beyond where just the cone is and where the track goes. So that's kind of the latest here as we kind of watch this storm carefully. The chances for seeing tropical storm force winds, these will increase as we go through the period. But right now, as far as seeing winds of 39 miles an hour or more, the coast of Pinellas and Pasco County, the chances now are over 40%, with 50% chances just offshore. I do not think that most of us in our area are going to see hurricane force winds. Now, if the storm tracks a little closer to Cedar Key, Pasco, Hernando, and especially Citrus County along the coast, we would really have to watch that. And then you would really have to start watching sea level rises. If we're going to get coastal flooding up here, Citrus into Hernando County, not a lot of development here, I realize, along the coast, but these are areas that are very vulnerable to sea level rise as the wind pushes the water onshore. So we're going to have to watch that very carefully for the potential of coastal flooding here as the storm gets a little bit closer. As far as the timing goes of most likely arrival time of tropical storm conditions, for most of us, it's going to be late Tuesday into Tuesday evening. So Tuesday morning, I think we're fine. It may be squally. There may be some rain in the area that starts to move in, and Tuesday afternoon as well. There's going to be obviously a threat of some isolated tornadoes as this moves through. But as far as the consistently gusting to tropical storm force winds, that would probably be very late Tuesday. So let's say maybe after 5 p.m. The Hurricane Center has us generally around 9 p.m. So within 3 hours of 9 p.m. So 6 p.m. to midnight on Tuesdays, where the most reasonable arrival time is for winds of 39 miles an hour or more. Obviously, there's going to be heavy rainfall with this as well. That could cause localized flooding as the storm is moving through, as the rain is falling. But again, river flooding and widespread inland flooding, not very likely with this system because of our drought conditions. So that's kind of the quick little Reader's Digest of what's happening here. I've got an in-depth post on my Facebook page. There'll be additional videos posted, and we'll probably do a live update later on this morning after the 11 a.m. update. We'll see if maybe the Weather Service or the Hurricane Center decides to issue any kind of watches or warnings for the state of Florida. Maybe too early today, if not maybe tonight or early tomorrow, but definitely going to see some impacts from the storm. This is not going to be a nothing for us. Now, it's not going to be a major impact for most. Now, if it does strengthen past Category 2, then we'd be talking about the potential for more serious sea level rises along the coast. but I still think the core of the strongest winds would stay offshore or just be confined to coastal communities from Pinellas County north. Again, depending on intensity. So, a lot to track here. This is one we're going to have to just kind of track as it develops, as we always do. I'll have another update later this morning. As soon as the 11 a.m. update comes through, we'll kind of digest that data and we'll do a live video update here. Take care, everybody. Have a good Sunday.